Hey everybody, welcome back to another Staying Crown podcast. So in this episode, Megan and I are in the hot seat. We're being interviewed by our good friend Remo. And we talk about how we met and basically an origin story and how we came up with Stained Crown. So hope you guys enjoy.
How you guys doing? This is Remo at Remo94K. I'm here as a celebrity host. I'm here with Elvis and Megan. And today we're going to be interviewing them on how they came to creating Stained Crown. Hey, y'all better be ready for some fucking wild questions then. I'm just kidding. Here we have Elvis and Megan. Megan, Elvis, go ahead and say hello to everybody.
Hey.
What's up everybody? How you guys doing?
Okay, so
On Remo's podcast, the 94K podcast.
all right, guys. So as most of you know, Elvis is a tattoo artist at Trusted Tattoo, and Megan is a piercer as well as Megan. What do you want to?
Permanent makeup
Artist here at Trusted Tattoo. A lot of you guys know that they are together, but today we're gonna venture on when they first met and how that come about to them creating the Stained Crown and how they built their life to where they are now. So Megan, if you want to go ahead and give us the start story on, let's say, before you got into permanent makeup, before you got into piercing, when and where did you exactly meet Elvis, and what were you doing as your job at the time?
Well, my job at the time, I was actually working at a tanning salon, and I was going to school full time, so I needed another job. I had just gotten my own apartment. It was Madison and me. She was barely 1 year old, and I needed another job to support myself. It was my first time having my own place, and it just I needed a little bit more income. So I decided that I was going to bartend, but I knew nothing about bartending, and I found this school, and I started attending it. And the teacher, the instructor.
I'm sorry to cut you off. What year was this in? Just to give everyone some insight.
Okay. This was in 2014, the beginning of 2014.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time just flew by.
Right?
What year are we in?
2021, baby.
Holy crap.
So the instructor of the bartending school, her name is Missy. Missy Rivera. She's pretty awesome. But
Shout out Missy.
Yes, shout out to Missy.
Making moves.
She was playing Cupid. She was. She was.
Which made it awkward.
So awkward.
I'll let you continue the story.
So awkward. She would make him blush, make me blush. It was just like, oh.
I think I'm blushing right now.
Right? So, the bartending school that I was attending happened to be next to this tattoo shop, and the tattoo shop happened to be where Elvis worked. He actually hadn't been there when I first started attending the courses because he was traveling at a convention, and Missy would always mention like, hey, there's this guy next door. His name's Elvis. He's got the best eyelashes, the best smile. He's so cute. You're gonna love him.
You do have some good eyelashes.
Yeah, he does.
She was always introducing me to the new students, you know, if you know
Yes.
if you catch my drift.
I don't know if he caught that under the table, but let me do that.
Yeah, that was my ego you just punched. But, yeah, go ahead.
So she would just totally play him up, hype him up, and be like, there's this guy, and his name's Elvis, and he's great. And I'm like, okay, cool. She's telling me this, and I'm like, he's just another guy,
Yeah. I gave her the script, with it to all this team.
You're so stupid. And then one day she's like, you know what? I'm gonna send him a Snapchat of you so he can see what you look like, and I'm gonna tell him to send one back. And so she did. She snapped it. I remember we were in this little clothing store right on the other side of the store of the tattoo shop and the bartending school, and
I remember that store. Yeah, the little clothing store.
Boutique.
It seemed like there was nobody ever there.
Yeah, nobody was ever there. It was only open once in a while, and we saw it open. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was in Chicago at the time when she had sent me the picture And I don't think she sent it to me right away. She was texting me and saying like, "Hey, send me a picture of you."
Oh yeah.
And I was
yeah,
like,
Oh, really?
And then
What?
and then we
She's like, "Just
ended
send
up
me a
doing
picture."
Snapchat.
So Megan made the move.
No.
No.
Our friend Missy
Missy.
Oh.
was texting me saying, "Hey, send me a picture of you." And I was like, "For what?"
Yeah.
You know, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna show you to
Shout out
one
Missy.
of the students or whatever." Yeah, shout out Missy. And so I was like, okay. So I was I think I was on my way to do a convention at the Chicago Pier. And yeah, it was just random. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll send her the picture. And I don't remember how quickly she sent me a picture of you. But at that point, I was like, okay, like, what is she doing? What's going on?
I'm about to
You
fly
know?
home right now. It's like,
Well, I was just curious as to like, what is she trying to do? Like, is she trying to hook me up with this girl? Like, what's going on? You know?
yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So and that was kind of like it for a minute, being that he was gone, you know. So I had seen him, she had sent him a picture of me, and it was like that was it. And then every once in a while she'd mention him, and then one day when I went to the class, she was like, "Oh, Elvis is home. He's here." And I'm like,
I was at the shop getting ready for a tattoo.
yeah. And I was like, oh, and so like she had built him up by the time. So I got kind of like nervous. I was like, oh my God, really? Like,
So yeah, so like side note, like it's different. Like if I would have went to a bar and saw her at the bar, I'd be like, hey, what's up? You know, let me buy you a drink, whatever. But when someone's telling you like, oh, I have this friend, and then she's telling us about each other before we've ever met.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once we actually meet, it just creates this very awkward
Atmosphere.
atmosphere.
Atmosphere, I was gonna
And
say.
let me tell you about Missy.
Elvis'
Missy-
voice. Did your voice
Missy
crack when you met her?
What?
No,
No,
it's
my
like-
voice was very muted.
Oh, so let me tell you what he did. Let me tell you what he did when okay, so she was like, okay, let's go over there. Because we would go over on our breaks to the tattoo shop. And I had been over to the tattoo shop before, but he had never been there. And so she's like, we're going to go over there. And he's there. And I'm like, okay. Like, and so
She got a warning. I didn't get a warning. I was just there trying to get my tattoo started.
Yeah.
yeah. So I walk in and I'm like, hi. And he's like, hey.
Yeah, I looked up. I saw her.
His face
and
got
I
so
was
red.
like- in my mind, I was like, holy fuck.
That's her.
I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. So I just
He
looked
said
up and I was
hi.
like, let me pretend like I'm really into this tattoo I'm doing.
And his cheeks were really red. And,
Yeah, sounds like Elvis.
and he went back down to the hey. And then you have Missy over in the back, like,
Just waiting for to see what
Like,
happens. Like,
So when did you guys actually talk then?
so she wasn't there. They weren't hanging out for very long after she came by to say hi.
No.
So they went back to class because there was other students in the class. So she was trying to teach the class. So eventually, like I would go and pop in and out, like on my breaks or in between tattoos. I would go and talk to the other students and hang out and just chill, you know.
Yeah.
And she would be making us like drinks because she was a bartending teacher. So she would. There was a couple times where she like bought vanilla ice cream and was making like these these chocolate or these birthday cake vodka
remember
floats.
Yeah, that sounds
And we
good.
would just go hang out and,
Yeah.
and drink, you know, it was chill. So I pop in and out, and then we kind of started, I guess, kind of growing our comfortability, you know.
and every
know.
time, every single time, whether he came over or we went over there, Missy's like, huh? Huh?
Uh-huh.
Like to both of us, not just one or the other. To both of us, like, huh? Huh?
I remember even like chilling outside, and she was outside, and then she came and talked to me, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I don't know. Maybe she just wants to hang out and have a good time. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Just trying to help you out or hook you up, whatever." And I was like, all right, whatever. I was like, I just got out of a relationship, a long relationship. I was with my ex for like 7 to 9 years.
Yeah.
Give or take. So I wasn't like in a hurry to get into another relationship, And I had told her that, like, so what are you doing? Like I'm not trying to, get a girlfriend or anything. She's
Yeah.
like, I'm not trying to do that. I just, maybe just you guys hang out and hook up.
And it had been like, because this was like May-ish, and he had broken up with his ex in like March.
Yeah.
So it was very
It was
fresh
like,
for
it was
him.
like January.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause
the
I-
beginning of the years, even
I had-
still, like it was
yeah.
very fresh for him. So he, from the very beginning, I mean, I'm skipping over a little bit right here, but from the very beginning, he always told me he's not looking for anything, and I always told him, okay, whatever.
Yeah, she was very.
So what you tell me in short is Elvis plays checkers and you play chess.
Yes.
All right.
What the fuck does that mean?
I had the long game. I saw
I mean,
the
like
moves ahead of time.
you're like okay, and like she
Okay.
I was
she
playing
makes
the
the moves.
No, well, I mean, yeah, I guess yeah.
Yep.
I guess yeah. But I was really focused on growing my career and what I was doing, you know.
yeah.
And I didn't realize because you know, my previous relationship wasn't great, so I felt more able to really focus and really try to produce the best, you know.
Yeah,
my career.
and I think a lot of people don't realize because a lot of people know you now of how prominent of a tattoo artist you are, but at that time, that was when you were really starting to get your break in tattooing too.
Yeah,
You know,
and
so
I was
I
in the
mean-
middle of like traveling and doing tattoo conventions and learning a lot. So
Your
I wasn't
career.
in a hurry to get into a relationship,
Yeah.
you know. And I had told her that, and I was thinking like, okay, if this does turn into something in the future, I need to put all my cards on the table and let her know what my expectations are or how I feel about things, so that way I'm not starting something without understanding.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
he wasn't
almost.
trying to start anything
I wasn't
at
trying
all.
for anything.
At all.
And you know what the way we started hanging out, because eventually we kind of just didn't really talk. And I mean,
Really?
not like that. What I'm trying to say is I wasn't trying to like hang out with her or anything.
Oh yeah, no, he played hard to get.
Yeah,
really
so
hard.
I wasn't really like
That sounds like Elvis.
Yeah.
I wasn't like saying like, oh, let's go hang out, or let's go do this, let's go do that.
Oh, I got the story for that.
And eventually, I was at my mom's house sitting on the couch, just like watching TV or something, and I was just, we text her, you know. So I fucking text her that day, and after that, I think she had told me like, oh, I want to take you out, you know, let's go get some lunch or something. And I was like, okay, I'm down. You know, we can go get some food with friends, like not just like a date thing, you know, right?
No, we went and did laundry.
That was but
That was our first time hanging out. No, or no,
alone.
alone. Yeah.
Before
alone.
that, we would hang out.
Oh
like,
yeah, we hung out with
with Autumn.
yeah,
We went to and Jesus.
and Jesus. Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Yes.
Good friends. They're both tattooers as well. But yeah, we were hanging out with them, so it was like just a group hangout, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually, she wanted to just do a me and you thing, and I was like, okay, I'm down, but I got to do laundry, so we got to do it there.
Dan, hey, I gotta
But-
pick up these these tips. So, dude, laundry first day is how you get it, right?
But
I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the way I introduced the idea of.
Okay,
laundry
all right.
day. You know, maybe I hyped it up really well. I don't know.
but before that, let me tell you
He's
how
like,
I
gotta
actually
do
got
my
him.
laundry.
Let me tell you how I got him because he was playing so hard to get. So we had been hanging out with our friends, like in a group setting, like never alone, him and I. And his birthday finally came about, and this is in July now. So we've gone
Yeah.
a couple months now.
Was that before the laundry date?
Yes, it was before the laundry date.
Before the laundry day.
Before
Okay.
the laundry date.
Okay.
So it took a couple months for him to, I mean, like we hadn't hung out by ourselves for a couple of months. Like he was really like, he was fighting it.
I was very resistant.
So there was this bar that
was
we
very
would go to, that Missy, you know, she would help bartender her students like get a job there. So we would always go hang out there and that would be the
Gotcha.
spot. And so we would invite the tattoo artist over as well. Well, it was his birthday and I told him, hey, come out for your birthday and I'll buy you a shot. So we were there. We had some friends there as well. It was Missy, a couple other friends, and then he came, but he said he couldn't stay because he had a convention.
We were literally packing to go on a road trip to El Paso, Texas for a tattoo convention that night.
that night.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can go hang out for a little bit and then I can sober up on the drive. You know, like I wasn't gonna be the one driving, but
Yeah.
I'd be in the car chilling. You know, not
Yeah.
worry about really doing shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I told her like I can't stay for very long. So yeah, I pulled up and some friends were there. started hanging out, and then
And so he gets there.
I want to hear the rest of this.
He sits down, and I look over to him and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna buy you a shot, but you're gonna kiss me by the end of the
were you
night."
already buzzing at this point?
I had a beer, but that was
Okay.
it.
Yeah, you're pretty lightweight, so.
Whatever. Not at that time. Wasn't that lightweight? But I told him, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna buy you a shot, but you're gonna kiss me by the end of the night." And he was like,
He got blood. His whole face got red again. I can totally see him like, okay.
Well, I mean,
I can totally see Elvis.
How would you react? You know,
Yeah,
you
you're
go to the bar and then just straight up, like blunt, like,
"I did. I
hey,
was
I'm
very
gonna buy you a
blunt."
shot. By the end of the night, you gonna give me those cheeks, bro. You know, like it's gonna catch you off guard. So I was like, did I even say anything?
I don't
remember.
think
My
so.
memory is-
Yo.
Smile.
He said,
Yeah,
got red.
I
Yeah.
thought she was just like just talking shit, you know. So I didn't really take it serious.
She probably knew how shy you were at this point. It was like, you know
I was
what?
tired of
Like,
waiting. I was tired
Yeah.
of waiting, so I took charge of the
So
situation.
yeah, so we were hanging out that night, you know, chilling, drinking at that bar,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started getting blown up by the homie Big Joe. He was the one who owned the shop,
yeah.
saying like, "Hey, bro, we're taking off, Holmes. Like, what's up? Like, are you coming or not? Are you staying or what's good?"
Yeah.
He's like, "You fucking moving in with this girl?" Or what? And I was like, "I'll be there right now. I just gotta get it right there, you know."
So I took him.
But
'Cause I
as
wasn't drinking
so
that
I went
much.
outside. I went outside to answer the phone call to talk to him, and she ambushed me. while
Who
I was on the
ambushed
phone.
you? Megan?
Megan did.
I did.
I was on the phone, and all of a sudden she just leans in and starts kissing on me.
I'm tired
And
of
I'm
waiting.
like,
I'm not coming home.
I'm not. But I was like, fuck it. Yeah. So she just that whole night was just ambush. She
I
ambushed me when I
pushed
pulled
him
up.
up against the car and started kissing him.
I was on the phone. I'm on the car, like, I'm coming, bro.
Yeah.
So she ends up taking me to the shop, and they're still packing up a few things. He was just trying to get me there so that way, you know,
Yeah, so you don't miss the ride.
And by this time, he was kissing me.
Yeah, by this time, you know, we were both having a good time, you know, doing the whole like saliva swap thing. And so the parking lot it's a weird shaped parking lot, but I guess it doesn't matter. So we were on this, was it your car that we were leaning on?
It was mine.
So and then the car that we were leaving with to go to the El Paso was like a couple spaces down. So we were over on her side and we were still kissing, and the truck was already, or the car was already packed. And I just hear him saying, let's go. And I'm still here like kissing her. And then they start fucking moving and they're like, let's go, bro, let's go. And they start fucking taking off.
Yes.
No way.
The
So I
car.
had a fucking.
You're lying.
I gotta
No.
go, I swear to God, yeah.
Yeah.
Megan chased the car?
No, he
No,
chased the car.
You ran?
I
Running.
ran. My stuff was already in there. They were already taking off. The door, because I
Was open. The back door was open.
Yeah, it was open. And they're saying like, we're leaving. They're leaving, and I'm sitting there like running to the car, and I get in there, and then from there we take off to El Paso, Texas. To
And
do
I'm
that
sure they were
convention.
talking a bunch of shit.
Oh, there was shit talked for sure. But I ended up like feeling really tired and passed out because that drive to El Paso, Texas is not entertaining, and it was the middle of the night too, so
Yeah.
I was tired. Yeah. But
I'm
yeah,
sure you
that
were
was-
tired from running after that van too, huh?
Huh?
I'm sure you were tired from running after the van to
It
get
wasn't that far of a run. It was maybe like 15, 20 yards that they started driving off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
They were-
but
they were
yeah, I was
creeping. They
tired.
were
They were creeping.
creeping.
Like they weren't like fucking just 25 miles out the fucking parking lot. No, it was like, you know, 5-10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Move like 20 yards, stop.
Yeah.
Another 10 yards, stop.
They were trying to fuck with him. And that,
Yeah.
So at this point, were you guys officially a
No.
couple?
No.
No.
At this point, I had to, you know,
Evaluate.
not reevaluate, but let her know again, like, hey, I'm not, you know, looking for anything serious.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, she was really cool about it. You know, like, okay, yeah, I'm not trying to force you or rush you into anything. You know,
Yeah.
we can
I
get to know
liked
each
him
other.
a lot, though.
And people would tell me, because like she would come to the shop working, and I'll be working on a stencil, and she'd be like sitting there just like looking at me.
Not looking at you. I was looking at what you were doing. Like, that sounds creepy.
The homie Marvin.
Marvin.
I remember he pulled me aside and he's like, bro, she loves you, man.
You're
I'm like, what do you
lying.
mean? And I'm like, and he was like, well, she walks in here and then she's like just sitting there like glued to you, like just looking at you and talking to you. And And I was like, okay, it's cool, dude. Whatever.
You got all red again? Get out of here.
But yeah. So we went to El Paso, Texas. We did the convention. And when I came back is when
we did laundry.
When she told me she wanted to.
So the laundry.
We bought Hawaiian barbecue to go. And then I had her helping me do my laundry for the day. So.
Well, he didn't have me doing it. He actually didn't want me to. And I was like, no, it's fine. Because I used to actually do laundry for my dad and for my brother. And like, so to me, doing laundry for someone else, it didn't really bother me. And I hate just standing there doing nothing. So I was feeling all stupid, like, well, let me help.
And I was like, okay, she likes to do laundry. Check.
Right? He's like,
let me build this checklist.
yeah.
Yeah. But after that was our first date alone, and it wasn't really a date, but it was because that's when we actually started to get to know each other a little bit more intimately. But it was at a laundromat, so I mean,
and we always did like these like they weren't really dates, but when I would come back from conventions, I would do a Walmart run and go get like groceries for like my protein shakes in the mornings and maybe some clothes or whatever the fuck else I needed.
Yeah.
And she would come along, or she would give me a ride to go do it. And it kind of became a thing.
Yeah. And then I ended up getting my own apartment, a different apartment, a bigger apartment in October. And after he'd finish all his conventions, he'd call me up and be like, hey, I'm gonna stop by Walmart. Is it cool if I stop by afterwards? And then that became a thing. And then gradually he started moving his what was that thing that you got from the Marine Corps? The box,
a Foot Locker.
A Foot Locker. Then the Foot Locker moved into my living room.
Hey, if a guy moves his Foot Locker in your house, that's like a girl leaving her toothbrush in your house. You know what I mean?
It wasn't a toothbrush.
This thing had everything.
That's Elvis's
where I was
toothbrush.
getting my clothes because I was living at the tattoo shop.
Yeah. I
was
remember that.
on tattoo beds for months.
Yeah.
And eventually,
and here I was offering this nice warm bed.
Yeah, she was offering,
Chest of checkers. You know what I mean? Like, don't trip. I got time.
Hey, you think I'm playing checkers, bro? But where are we at right now? You think this was an accident? This is premeditated.
Yeah. Who's really winning now? He's like,
no, but yeah. So I slowly started like moving in, and eventually,
it was funny because he would do things on purpose to like push me away, and not
really,
like not in a mean way necessarily, but like
I was just very like I had a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
I had a lot of trust issues as far as like how people are when you first meet. And I told her like the way people are when they first get together is not the way they really are.
Yeah.
It's there's a phase that you go through, and then you realize the kind of person they really are.
Yeah.
So I was always like testing her.
Tested me a lot.
I tested her a lot. And eventually
she's like, what is this sauce?
Well, because not just she was just so different than my past relationships.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was in disbelief. It made you disbelief.
Exactly. I was like, what is this
she
girl
can't
like?
Be this awesome all the time.
She can't be this awesome all the time.
Yeah.
She's pretty consistent. Like, what's really going on?
Yo, he said she's pretty consistent.
Yeah, and I was like, what's really going on? Like, what is she trying to get out of me? She's trying to get tattoos, and the first tattoo she got from me, she wasn't trying to like get it for free or anything.
Yeah.
Nope.
She would come and just randomly like put like $200 in my toolbox, another $200, whatever, until eventually I tattooed her. Like, so I was like, okay, so she's not trying to get free tats,
Yeah.
Because I wasn't making a lot of money, so paying for it, like, it was very important to me that I let him know too that I wasn't trying to get anything for free from him, that I want to pay for what I'm getting. So like I had to save my money a lot because I was working full-time, 2 jobs, and then going to school full-time. So paying him, like, to me was a big deal too.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, getting free things would have been nice, but that's not what it was about. And I needed to make sure that was understood.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted him for.
Yeah. So eventually, after all this consistent, her being so cool and being nice and, really seeming to be interested in me, I was like, okay, I guess I can move forward. We can commence.
Yeah. We can commence.
Yeah. my memory isn't that great, so I don't really recall exactly how long we were just like friends.
Yeah.
Like not in a relationship. Was it 6 months?
It took you 6 months before you realized that you were gonna succumb to my
That
way.
was about it. I was like, okay, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how we met.
So at this time, you guys are a couple now.
At this point, we became a couple.
And Megan, what are you doing for work at this time?
For work, I am now a piercer.
So before.
Time of,
At that time. So for work at that time, I had actually stopped working at the tanning salon because I was making enough money with the bartending, and I was actually doing really, really well with it. So I was just a bartender.
So I want to get into how you transition into the tattoo piercing world and how you.
That's a good story.
How I want to touch on because I know a lot of people have their careers with their spouses, and everyone wants to see their spouse succeed, but it's a whole nother thing to succeed and support your spouse at the same time. And I feel like you took a big step toward doing that by leaving your bartending. So I want to touch on how you came to the decision, hey, you know what? I feel it's right for us to build something together, and let me leave what I was doing.
Yes.
And go ahead and pursue something that can help support him.
low key was kind of my decision.
Well, no. I guess kind of, yeah. So
I didn't really like her working at a bar.
Okay.
Coming home at like 3-4 in the morning.
So was
and I
that
worked
a
at a
cause
strip
of?
club. I was a bartender at a strip club.
That's not. Yeah.
Where was the invite from me? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway.
I used to be a frequent at the strip club.
Yes, he was very frequent, if you know what I mean.
I was newly single, and and the homie Big Joe, that was like our thing. Like, let's go fuck the bar, let's go to the strip club. You know?
Yeah.
We fucking go hang out, and then it turned into like every weekend. But yeah. So I didn't really like her working there.
Yeah.
As a bartender, weird hours, coming home late. Sometimes she would like call me and be like, "Oh, there's this fucking weirdo."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just the strip club was like a 30-minute drive.
Yeah, I was in the middle of nowhere.
So there's
Yeah, so it's kind of coming home late, driving, dealing with bad.
It give me anxiety. It's in some nights, especially when there'd be like a weirdo.
Yeah, because I had somebody follow me,
Yeah,
and that was not cool.
but sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead, keep going. Tell the rest.
Yeah. So how did you start? What was your first step into introduction? Like, did Elvis bring it up to you, and then you thought about it? Is it something you introduced to him?
Well,
Is it something you guys collaborated on ideas together?
no, it kind of just happened, honestly, and the way that it kind of like unfolded, and it was almost like it was meant to be in that aspect because it was so natural, just how easy it became. I love to travel. I've always loved to travel, so that was a plus for me. So, and let me back up a little bit. When he was traveling and I was working as a bartender, I'd be home alone. He'd be out at his conventions for weeks at a time or for the week, because before he would be driving. Tough. Yeah, he'd be driving most of the time. It was before we really started flying.
Yeah.
So it would take longer and he'd be gone longer, and he would do back-to-back conventions. So he would be gone for weeks at a time, and I would miss him. And he gets very wrapped up in what he does.
I was terrible at messaging her or calling her. I wouldn't call her or text her for days.
And I became upset.
Yeah, she called me and like was freaking out on me, and I didn't know. I was just like, even my own mom, I wouldn't call her or text her for a long time. I'm just focused on what I'm doing. There's just always stuff going on that, time just slips from me.
Yeah.
So yeah, she let me know. We're on the phone. I was in the middle of a tattoo when she called, and I had to walk around the building because it was like a serious conversation. She's like, "You can't just not fucking call me or text me for days, almost weeks." And I'm like, "It's just, I don't know. Like, I'm not good at fucking messaging, texting, whatever the fuck. I've never really been. I mean, I'm getting better at it.
Yeah. Oh, you're much better now.
But it was just,
Yeah.
so wrapped up in what I was doing that I forget to message.
I remember that phone call too, and I was walking in the backyard at my parents' house.
I was pissed.
He was mad at me.
I even told her like, hey, my career. This is gonna sound fucked up. I told her my career is gonna always come before you.
He did.
And I felt like she was trying to pull me away from it with that conversation, but then eventually I was like, I guess I can see how me not calling or texting you for that long could seem
He looked
like I don't fucking care about you.
You looked at your
Yeah.
messages
But it's
and
not fucking true.
seen it was actually 5 days, and you're like,
Yeah,
dang, that's
I was
actually a
like, damn,
while.
Yeah.
That
So
was terrible. It was terrible.
I don't remember. I think it was kind of a joint decision at that point. Like, well, hey, why don't you come with me on one of my trips, on one of my conventions?
I think I wanted her to see, like, I'm not just out here fucking around.
Yeah.
You know? Because I think that's what a lot of people think, like, when we're doing conventions, like, oh, they're going out there, they're fucking going to the club, they're going to the
Gotcha.
they're in Miami, they're doing this and doing that. Like, nah, we're tattooing till like 1, 2 in the morning, and then when we're done, we're fucking hungry. We're trying to find a place to eat.
Yeah.
Eat till like fucking 2, 3 in the morning, and then we go to sleep and do it again. And then we might have that Monday to go sightsee, do whatever, but then we're flying home Monday night or Tuesday morning or driving. So there's like no time for us to go fucking party and shit, you know, because we're out there to try to hustle up some money.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, like the whole, each day there was something, it's the time is just consumed by doing shit, tattooing, finding food, trying to talk to people, you know? So, yeah, I remember I invited her out to come to one of the conventions just to hang out, you know, like let's get her out of California, come travel, see some of the, I think that the trip that I took her to was Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
In Florida. Shout out Tampa.
Yeah. And let's give you a little bit of a timeline. This is 2015 now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm on it.
She's on it. She's got a calendar.
All up here.
But yeah, so I took her out and we went to the convention. Friday's usually the day that conventions start. So I was getting set up and I told her like, hey, you know, you can talk to people and, you know, if someone wants to get tattooed, just let me know. And eventually she didn't even need to ask me anything. She just booked out my entire weekend
That Friday night.
in less than a few hours. And normally I'm booking appointments like each day. Like I'm not booking my whole weekend myself, you know? So when she told me like, all right, well, you have an appointment today, later on today, 2 tomorrow, and then 2 on Sunday. And they're big ones. So I'm like, holy shit. Like you literally just did like 40% of the work.
Yeah.
I don't have to fucking talk to anybody now. Is that what you're telling me?
That's when he really fell in love with me.
And I was like, I don't remember what I said.
You said you're my new best friend.
But I think I was like, you're quitting this damn bartending job.
Is that what you really said?
Yeah.
Something like that.
He said, no, that's exactly what I said.
Basically. So from that point on, I was like, you're coming to these conventions with me. You know, you're fucking good at what you do. And then eventually my homies, specifically my homie George, shout out Fox Solo.
Yes, George.
We've been actually traveling with him for the last fucking 7-8 years.
It's been us 3.
He's still someone we travel with pretty frequently. Yep. But everyone saw how good she was at what she was doing. And so just to kind of give you a little bit of a context on why I ended up leaving that group that I was traveling with. So it was kind of her fault, but it was also like an awakening. The owner of the shop was the one who was putting up the money to buy the booths to do the conventions, and we were giving him a huge percentage of every tattoo that we made. So if we made $1,000, we were giving him $400.
What?
Yeah.
You taking 40% of your stake?
Yeah. And that's not. And
when I found that, I was like,
that's not including where you're staying.
That's not including.
That's
flights,
not including your
food,
gas.
else,
That's not including. That's not including your supplies.
Yeah. And he was the one who would be out there helping book appointments and stuff.
Yeah.
But then eventually, you know, once I figured out that she was super good at doing that,
you didn't need him to book appointments.
I didn't need him anymore, you know. And a huge shout out to Big Joe. He fucking you know did a lot for me, and you know I'm forever grateful to this guy. But you know I had to grow.
Yeah,
you know? And
absolutely.
She was about it. She and I didn't want her to rely on me. You know, like I feel like a lot of relationships, some women feel like, okay, I'm gonna be at home doing this, and he's gonna do the breadwinning or whatever.
I was
very like wanting her to like push yourself, do this, do that, whatever you want to do. I'm gonna support you.
Gotcha,
you know?
rightfully so. I mean,
and So I told her, right, you're gonna be our manager. And me and my homie George, I agreed. He agreed to the terms. We are gonna pay her a percentage. It was a smaller percentage than what we were paying the homie Big Joe, but because
everyone was winning.
But because she was doing so good, she was making. And just to give you a little bit of an example, on some of the best weekends that we had, she was going home with like $2,000 from percentages.
Yeah.
From helping book me and other friends that we may be traveling with.
I think around that.
Yeah, but it fluctuated. But for the most part, even if the convention is slow, we're doing better than everyone else there because of her. Because she's out there. She's not taking no for an answer too. Like if you're walking by and you're not even here to get tattooed, she's gonna somehow convince your ass to fucking sign this paperwork and get tattooed.
And I remember we were in Philly a couple times. Aww.
How can you say no?
How can you say no?
And then I mean,
Elvis. She had to fight you. She had to fight you down, bro.
Like, reel him in.
Like,
I mean,
she used the hook, the net. She used everything to catch you, bro. He's like, I'm happy.
I can't hit it. I can't hit the persistence, you know.
and the consistency.
That's what it comes down to.
Consistency. Let's not forget that.
I get a little grumpy now, but I mean.
So were you piercing at this point now that you started doing shows?
No. So it started off as me being the manager, like Elvis was saying, and it just for a couple of years, I'd say like maybe a year, maybe a little bit more than a year of managing the artists, and by artists I mostly mean it was him, Elvis and George, and then whoever they happened to booth up with.
Yeah, sometimes we'd see the same friends at most conventions, and then we'd tell them like, hey, if you want Megan to help you, just cut her the percentage that we're giving her and she'll help you book appointments, and she'll keep track of everything. They're like, okay, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, so for a while, and I was going to tell you guys earlier too, so how everybody saw that I was good at what I was doing. I remember this one time in Philadelphia, we were in this booth here, and I was helping two booths right here, and then we had friends that we had worked with before who were down here on the end of the row, and they asked, hey, can you help book us? And then we had Oath, shout out to Oath. Other. He was over in the middle, and he's like, hey, Megan, I need some help. I have this day open, and I need this slot. Like somebody bailed. And so I'm working like 5 booths.
She was basically like a marketer, you know, like for in live conventions, in person type shit. Yeah. She was just killing it.
So I was doing that for a while because it was very good, and I was happy with it. But then became, what am I going to do in between the shows? I need something to do in between the shows. And that at that point, and I think it was in Philly, that's when I realized it too, not that same time, at a different time, when I realized I want to do something a little bit more in between these shows. And that's where piercing came into play.
I think the way it came about, maybe I made this up in my mind, but she was so good at booking us out that she would book everybody out basically that Friday.
And be done.
So the rest of the weekend, she's just kicking back, chilling. And I was like, hey, maybe there's a way you can make even more money doing your own fucking hustle.
I think actually remember you telling me that story at one point.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck, maybe piercings, like, because you can, if you get good at them and you learn it the right way, you can bang them out and make an extra fucking $1,000 on the weekend, if not more.
That sounds more accurate. So at that point, I taught myself how to pierce, and I've always been a bookworm. So like normally when you learn a trade in the body art industry, you're supposed to do an apprenticeship, and I did not do an apprenticeship, but neither did he.
Neither did I. I had to weasel my way in.
I kind of took a page from his book.
Shout out to the homie Herschel. He fucking gave me my first break working at a tattoo shop. Yeah. But I took it seriously, just like she did with piercing. I was really about, trying to learn it the right way, learning about, how to be clean about it and everything. Yep. And so she did the same thing. And
yeah, I would reach out to different piercers. I would actually go to their shop and like learn from them. Remember, shout out to Cholo Pierces at
Mike Hustle out of Florida.
Yep, Mike Hustle out of Florida.
We went to his shop.
Yeah,
actually, and he was like,
that was a huge,
hands-on,
huge learning
he had
experience.
lines out the door for piercing.
Really, for piercing.
Like I don't. This Mike Hustle. That was he earned that name. Mike.
Shout out Mike Hustle.
Shout out Mike Hustle.
Shout out Mike Hustle.
He was a big help, because she was there like watching in person, piercing after piercing after piercing after piercing,
going, like such a huge hands-on experience, and that really like pushed me forward in that aspect. So at that time, I then learned and I started piercing, and then I got a job at Ink Spot from
Fontana?
in Fontana from it was Ryan Schumann who
Yeah, the homie
actually
Ryan Schumann.
recommended
Shout
me
out
for
to
that.
Yomi. We traveled with him, done a lot of conventions with him.
Yep.
So he knows firsthand the power that Megan had with the booking and
Has.
I say had because
There we go. Put some
I say-
respect
I say-
on her name.
I say
Let's go.
had because she's no longer doing that for me. You know, I gotta fend for myself.
But we haven't been doing conventions.
Yeah,
either.
that's it.
Yeah, so as a lot of people do know Elvis tattoos. Megan, you do have a lot of ink by Elvis, correct?
I do. Yes.
How much percent would you say of your ink is by Elvis?
Wow. I'd say
Just an
probably
estimate. Just an estimate. off
estimate
the
of
top.
everything that I have done, probably about 90 to 95% of everything I have.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you know the power couple duo booking marketing.
I am his walking billboard.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's the masterpiece,
That was
right?
part of the reason why she was able to book me out too.
I'd
Because
be like, look.
yeah,
Okay,
like some booty shorts. Like
so
look at fellas.
those
Look
watching,
at this.
I
fellas.
never did that.
those
Never did
watching,
that.
listening. It's not as easy as it looks as it sounds, but you do have a walking blueprint here that can help you out with booking, help you out build a power couple, help you out cut out those third people.
You just gotta support, you know, your other person, and
Yeah.
and you know, if you guys can somehow end up in the same industry or similar, it just makes things a little bit easier. There's definitely has its tough moments because we had a lot of tough moments, you know, because we were basically spending time with each other
All
24
the
hours a
time.
day, 7 days a week.
I remember. I went to that convention and
Yeah,
Oh, in fucking Pomona.
the end
Yeah.
of it, Elvis was exploding.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, it's, I mean, you can imagine just with like regular people, you know, like if you're with someone for so long, hanging out day in, day out, eventually you're like, I need a break from you, homie. Like,
yeah, no, absolutely,
go
absolutely,
home, shower, whatever the fuck.
absolutely. There's always that.
Family. But she was my family at that point. you
Yeah.
know, or she is my family. So the relationships are already tough as it is.
Yeah.
You know, so us going through that, it made it really tough. It definitely tested us a lot, and it still tests us to this day. But we're learning to understand, like, okay, there's these stresses that are gonna come with it, but there's a goal that we're working towards, and you know, we zig and zag. You know, we
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel
cooperative.
I feel like a piece of the piece that people do miss is like all those good times are nice to remember. They're amazing,
Yeah.
right? But all those shitty times, when you look back on them, they mean more than those great times because what you guys went through and what you know you can get through.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel a lot of times to remember the shitty times, and it's just as important as the good times. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's shout out to you guys. Shout out for continuing.
Thank you, bro.
Thank
you.
We trying.
Yeah.
So at this point, Megan is learning how to pierce.
Mhm.
You already have the whole billboard.
Yeah.
You
Well,
guys
not
are
the
not,
whole, but a big
but
one.
you guys
Yeah.
are killing that, right? So where are you piercing at this point? Where are you based out of?
So that's going back to what we just mentioned a little bit ago. Ink Spot in Fontana.
Okay, so how did you guys? I think everyone wants to know how did you guys transition into working together into building a business into this? How did you guys get into Trusted Tattoo together? How did that come about? Like, hey, I think it's more efficient for us to combine our businesses.
Well, we always wanted to work together, but there was
Yeah.
never an opportunity that had arose for us to actually be together at the same shop.
Yeah, there was a couple of shops that I worked at where I would tell the owner.
But
like,
Megan you were working at a prominent eyebrow shop, right? And you had to fall in,
Yeah.
and then I don't want.
No, yeah.
I mean,
you're
you
good.
you ended up going your separate way from the shop.
Yes.
But that was a prominent shop where you had a lot of clients.
Yes.
but that was
and you
just
were
permanent
making-
makeup. It wasn't piercings.
Yeah, that wasn't a
She was
tattoo
doing any
shop. It
piercings
was
there.
it was just eyebrows.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So how
That's
did
pretty
you
small.
end up leaving? Because I know that was one of your main spots. How did you end up separating from that spot to say,
come
hey,
here.
I'm gonna work closer with Elvis so we can make more money and build our business together.
Well, it kind of opened up to where it allowed us to do that. I mean, we worked at Illuminati in Fullerton.
Together?
Yes. Shout out to Rafa.
Yeah, shout out to Rafa. He gave us a place to work there
Yeah.
for a couple years.
Yeah, but it was a little bit hard because of the commute. So
Yeah,
that was
we were
what
living
made
in
it
the high
difficult.
desert.
Yeah.
And his shop is in Fullerton.
Yeah, I remember.
So-
Okay.
Yeah. So that it didn't really, that didn't really work out very smoothly in the sense of because of that commute all the time and then having the kids so little.
But we were also traveling too.
And traveling a lot.
So, you know.
So basically the way, just to kind of sum it up real quick, we left Illuminati. Elvis actually started to work here at Trusted before I started working here with him. And I'll let you
So I
say
transitioned
why.
from Illuminati to Trusted because a good friend of ours that I actually traveled with at Klika, and I met him at Klika, was a homie Big C, Corey.
Shout out Big C.
Shout out Big C.
Rest in peace. He no longer with us.
Yeah, so he was working here because he was good friends with Jordan Nelson, one of the artists here at Trusted.
Yeah.
And I would come and hang out with Corey, and he would constantly tell me, like, bro, why are you working in Fullerton? You live, like
Right
your
here.
parents live in Norco. Like, why are you... At this point, I was living in Norco.
We moved.
We moved to Norco to live with my parents because we were trying to buy a house.
So it was Big
Fucking
C's
work out.
idea for you to.
He was the one
to
pushing it,
officially
like saying,
move
like,
here.
bro, like, why are you making your clients drive to Fullerton and you drive to Fullerton, and then when you guys are done tattooing, you both are driving back to the Inland Empire? Like, why are you doing that?
Makes sense.
And I was like,
right?
I didn't want to be like, well, let me work here. It wasn't his shop.
Yeah.
So eventually, like, I would just be hanging out, come hang out, got to know everybody. And then eventually, in the middle of one of my tattoos in Fullerton, Jordan had called me and told me that Big C had passed away the night before. And after that, I came through and was trying to be like supportive and talked with everybody. And I forget exactly how the idea came about when I actually brought it up to Joey, the owner. Shout out Joey.
Shout out Body Art Buzz Joey. Big shout out.
He's helped with making all this possible. I brought it up to him like, hey bro, like I want to work here, and I think it was Big C's intention for me to do so at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of honor that, and if you're cool and you'll have me, I would love to work here.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, dude, we fucking love to have you.
At that, and real quick too, we had started working with Joey before you started working here, right? On the Body Art Bus, no? Or was that at the same time?
I was already working here when Megan started piercing for the Body Art Bus,
Okay.
because there was already a piercer here.
Yeah.
And he was very territorial.
Yeah. I remember.
So
that.
he
did
didn't
not
want to have
want
another
me
piercer coming
here
in.
At all.
He wasn't very consistent here. So it was kind of hard for Joey to really, want to keep him around. I mean, I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, and
Basically,
I'm sorry to cut you off. And for people who don't know Joey is one of the most amazing guys. Shout out Body Art Bus.
yeah.
Yes.
super
He's the
sober.
owner of
Absolutely.
Trusted
He's-
Tattoo. So make sure you check out Trusted Tattoo and give him a shout out.
Yeah, he's always trying to make sure that everybody's eating.
Yeah.
Everybody's
he's
taken care of.
really,
He's a,
wanting to help everybody and wanting to include everybody. So Megan was piercing for the Body Art Bus. I was working here, and then I would tattoo on the Body Art Bus whenever we had some events. And eventually Joey would bring up to the piercer here, like, hey, why don't you have Megan come on and, work and help pick up some of the slack, so you can take days off or whatever. So eventually Joey had to let that guy go
Gotcha.
for reasons I'm not going to get into. And then Megan was hired on as the piercer.
Mhm.
And she wasn't doing permanent makeup yet.
Yeah.
Were you?
yes, I was.
Were you?
Yes, I was.
Okay,
Because I
so
started
she was-
doing it.
So we were doing some low key stuff, but she was learning from certified people in Los Angeles. She paid a lot of money to
A
learn
lot of money.
the permanent makeup from someone in LA. So she was doing that, and then eventually when she worked here as a piercer, we talked about her doing the permanent makeup here.
As well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so now we're here, still working with Trusted and Body Art Bus and doing our thing
You've
here.
been here about 4 years. I've been here about
4
3.
years in March.
Awesome. So I think so at this time you got, what year is this? What year are we in now?
So
21.
We got a funny guy, huh?
right?
I want to say like 2018.
No, 2017.
So you guys are both at Trust Tattoo, correct?
2018 is when we were both
Yeah.
here.
So when did the idea first? I mean, Elvis, I already known you for. I mean, people don't know I've known Elvis for almost my whole life. Great, get one of the best dudes I've ever known. I know Elvis. You've always wanted to start your own business. I've known that since day one.
Yeah.
But when did the idea occur? Let's start this thing together. Once you guys are both in here, and how did you guys, fixate on the name and the design and all that? How did you guys really come about that?
Well, the name, I've always struggled with branding myself. I've changed my Instagram name.
He's always
Multiple
changing his
times.
name, and I'm like, don't.
You know, it used to
Stop.
be Elvis Tattoos, then it turned
Filthy
to
Skills.
Filthy Skills, and I went to Elvis Disfruta for a little bit.
Yeah.
That shit didn't work out. And then eventually I was like, man, I am Elvis Tattoo, dude. Like, I just fuck the bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
But now I'm struggling with liking
I'm an
that.
onset,
Onset 2 Inc. But that's something different.
but
So
you were trying to make it your main.
I was trying to make it my main thing, my brand, because my name's Elvis.
Yes, it is.
People always say the king, like, oh, it's the king of rock and roll, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was getting those jokes or that gimmick my whole life. In the beginning, when I was young, I didn't know what the fuck people meant. Like, Elvis the king, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know, eventually I figured out, like, oh, it's Elvis Presley. He's referred to as the king of rock and roll. So I wanted to kind of embrace that and embrace the crown, the
Yeah.
king. And then it clicked, like, bro, I basically started tattooing in Corona. That's where my career started. Corona is Spanish for crown.
Yep.
So I wanted to figure out how I can incorporate that into a brand. And I wrote a list of names, and
We would bounce them off of
we
each
would bounce
other.
them off each other, and then I wouldn't like them, and then would come back to them, and then I would change it up and add
And
this,
I'm
add
like,
that.
no, this one is good. It
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
and yeah, so I've been struggling with the branding, you know, and eventually Stained Crown, I can't even remember how it came about, but it gravitated towards what I'm doing, towards what we're doing, you know. And there's still variations of it, because like we have Crown the City, which
Crown City Drip.
Crown City Drip, you know, like, so there's different like variations of it, but Stained Crown is like the mothership in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
That's
the
hub.
brand.
Yeah.
Stained Crown.
And we've been through so much and had our own journey to get to where we're at now, and we're still working on it. We're still working towards something. And I feel like everybody is.
Yes.
So I feel like the Stained Crown kind of represents that, because the stain represents the troubles, the struggles, the pain,
Everything
the
you've
journey
been through.
that you went on to achieve the goal, which is the crown, eventually reaching the crown. So when you finally reach the crown, you have so much stain or like muck from the shit that you've been through
Yeah.
that you stain the crown. So I say a stained crown is an earned crown, you know?
Yeah.
Wear that
absolutely.
same crown.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It wasn't handed. It wasn't handed. It was earned.
So now the message behind it, I feel like it can be versatile, used for many different things. I've been into gaming for a while now. I took a break, but now I'm back. And I wanted to get into streaming,
I took a break, now
and I
I'm
learned a lot of this setup came from me wanting to learn how to be a streamer, a
Yeah.
gamer, building my own PC, doing all that. And some of the name variations came from wanting to create a brand for that. But now Stained Crown can be a brand name that reaches many different things.
It can speak to more than just us. It can speak to
Because everybody's going through a journey.
Yeah,
Everyone's
everybody.
going through a pain to get somewhere, to reach a goal.
Yeah.
everybody has their unique stain from
Exactly.
the journey that they've taken in their life.
Yeah. So I feel like Stained Crown, it's not just Stained Crown Inc. It can be Stained Crown Media, Stained Crown Gaming, Stained Crown Fitness, Stained Crown, whatever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have more interest in just tattooing and piercings and permanent makeup.
Yep.
And we want to implement that and show people through this brand that, hey, you don't have to be just a
Body art technician or
you don't have to be just a person of one trade.
yeah.
You know, because there's a saying that says a jack of all trades is a master of none. But the full saying says, "A jack of all trades is a master of none, but usually better at most than some are at one."
Yep.
Yeah, that is. So
And I feel like with anything that I pick up, anything that she picks up, we get good at it because we're persistent and consistent at wanting to learn this shit.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Like all this shit set up that I got going on.
yeah,
I used to stay up till like 3-4 in the morning,
my
even though I
God.
had to work the next day at tattoos.
Yeah.
Because I was determined to learn how to fucking do this shit and get this shit to work.
yeah.
He's
yeah.
come a long way. And I remember he would just be tinkering on his computer, like trying to figure out all these different like settings for the sound and for the video.
I'd be up till like 3-4 in the morning. Test.
No way.
Check,
And I'm
test,
like,
Really?
test.
yes.
Over here ripping my hair out that I don't have. Like test. And Megan be coming
He
in.
started pulling his beard.
He's like, "You're loud." I'm like, "I'm sorry." Test.
So, I think a lot of the stained crown. I think it's a great idea because I think you're kind of reaching out to everybody. And, you know, a lot of people feel that they don't have nothing to contribute. I want to say, you know, a lot of people feel that their talents are met short. But like you said, whether you're gaming, I feel like that's a talent. If you're really good at gaming, you can be part of that stained crown, you know. If you're really good at math, if you're really good at sports, if you're really good at tattooing, piercing,
Absolutely.
you know. So I think it's a great
journey to get healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Itself is a
feel
journey.
Yep.
I feel like that. Yeah, even if you're already fit, and you're trying to reach that new height, you know, that's a piece of that crown that you grab that's stained. So I think it's a great concept. I think it's a great brand. When did that officially come about? In what year did you guys put it together?
2 years
Officially
ago,
made it
2.5
official.
years ago.
So yeah, the name. So we wanted to build an entity.
Yep.
And that's kind of what really was like, all right, it's now
yeah.
or never. What's the name going to be?
Yep.
Yeah,
So we built an S corp, or created an entity with Stained Crown for our taxes and to build the business to do this shit right, you know, because we were self-employed, but we weren't doing our taxes right, and now we've been learning more about it, and now we created that, which kind of solidified. Okay, Stained Crown is the brand.
Yep.
Stained Crown is the name, and now we're trying to see how we can branch off.
Yep.
From the name to do different things.
So I'd say it was, I guess, came into fruition about 2018.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when it started.
Yeah.
Like talked about, like really
And-
becoming.
and I remember, like-
a matter to talk about.
Yeah, and I remember like making a list of words like that from a thesaurus, and like I have the notes in my phone still, like just
Basically
trying to like,
getting an arrow and just like flick,
yeah, like trying to
that's what
find,
it stick.
yeah. And so, and that's about when it was
Yeah,
created, about 2018.
about 2018, officially branded.
Yeah. And then it just kind of grew from there. At first, it was kind of like, you know, wobbly, like, oh, and then we kind of like felt it, started feeling it a little bit more. And then we're like, okay, yeah, like this is it. And then we started branching off and like really building from it. And it was a really good foundation.
yep.
Yeah.
So officially, created in 2019, but we've been talking about it for
So been a
2018.
2018.
so been official brand for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. So say 2019 comes into play. You guys are both at Trusted Tattoo. You guys started the brand, right? So where are you guys moving forward from this point on?
Very good question.
that is a very good question
It's a very good
because there's
Because
a
I know you guys
there's a
did
lot.
have a lot coming together. Elvis, I know you guys had the convention that you guys were going to put together with a lot of shout out to a lot of the other artists who were going to participate in it.
Yeah, it was
Elvis.
Joey's goal was to set up that Ink Con, which is still going to happen at some point, but because of COVID, you know, messing things up, we kind of have to like.
Postpone.
That was going to be a launch though.
Was that?
That was going to be one of the big launches for the Stained Crown though. Was that
No,
at
that
that
was-
con?
that wasn't Stained Crown.
That's
That
Joey's
was-
baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was for Trusted Tattoo,
Okay.
because the event was going to be called Trusted Tattoo Gathering, basically
Gotcha.
a celebration of tattoo and the culture and how different cultures, you know.
But you guys would be branded out of there.
We would help support it and,
We
and,
were
and
just
rep
going to
it,
support
but yeah.
and
Okay.
represent Trusted in this event.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Stained Crown
Gotcha.
is a separate thing.
It's
Yeah.
a separate thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Joey is a part of the Stained Crown podcast, and he's been a huge help and a huge part of being able to do
Supporter.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's like we said earlier, he's really about bringing people together and wanting to support what they want to do, you know,
Yeah.
because he's been such one of the dopest owners that I've ever met. Not
Yeah.
saying that any of the other owners are dope, because they all are dope in their own right.
Joey's just a very unique type
He's
of
very
person.
unique, and
you don't meet people like him.
and I low key
on a
think he has
day-to-day.
ADHD, because he's trying to do everything. He's trying to make everything happen. And
Yeah,
I fuck
that's
with that. I fuck
Hey,
with that hard.
He's
Shout
a
out to
hustler
Joey,
for sure.
workhorse, one of the most
Workhorse.
humblest people we've ever met in our lives.
Yeah.
Body Art Bus, we appreciate you a lot.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right.
We do
really
appreciate
do.
you.
So so InkCon, the Trusted Tattoo Gathering, is still gonna happen. That's Joey's baby. That's Trusted Tattoos baby. It's still gonna happen at some point. But Stained Crown, that's basically me and Megan for the most part, with other people included.
Yeah.
And anyone that wants to be included, you know, everyone has something to bring to the table,
Yeah.
unless they don't.
I mean,
Then we kick him to the door.
so you guys, so we got so you are the founder and Megan is the co-founder, correct?
Exactly.
And you guys are collaborated on this idea together
Yep.
to make it official Stained Crown. Elvis, I know that represents some of your background, some of the Elvis, I Am the King. So did you come up with the stain yourself, or would Megan help you out with that? How did
I think the stain part initially started as ink,
Yeah.
because we're in the tattoo industry.
yeah.
You know, so it was just ink from permanent makeup,
And spilling,
or
making a mess.
tattoo ink, you know.
Yeah.
And then with all the correlation.
But then eventually it was like, hey, like we're constantly struggling, we're constantly getting through stuff, which you're getting your hands dirty,
Yeah.
you know. So I think that's just when it was really like solid, like it's meant to be this way.
Yeah, it just kind of like made sense. Everything went together, and it was like, ding, like, yeah, this totally runs with everything. I mean, being Corona, him having the name Elvis, you know, and the nickname the King from Elvis Presley.
I used to hate my name because of
Yeah.
that, because I was constantly getting shit. And eventually I was like, you know
That's
what?
crazy. I never knew
I want
that.
to fucking embrace this shit, you know?
Yeah.
I wanna embrace that crown, you know?
Yeah.
From Corona, you know, I mean, I live in Norco, but, you know, my stomping grounds is this whole area,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know? And my clientele is in Corona.
Yeah.
You know, this is where I started, you know, whether it was in, you know, fucking chicken coop in the back of my parents' house tattooing chicken.
Hey,
I
let's
never did
leave.
that. I never
We'll
did
leave
that.
those stories for another
lying.
It's a
podcast.
joke. It's a joke. But you know, I'm here now. I moved around, but I'm back. You know, and you know, we're here to stay.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense of we're working towards our goals. We're not going to give up. you
Yeah.
know? And there's different things that we're pursuing.
So are we gonna
Which
have
still
some
has to be
gear
told.
coming out soon, or we have some clothing
We
coming out?
are
Definitely. We're
definitely
slacking.
putting that in the works. We actually
Here-
just
a little shout out to the sponsors.
yes,
for
keep
growth.
growing,
Keep growing.
Thank you
Which is
guys. We
something that
appreciate you
support over here.
guys.
keep it
Huge
growing.
support, and we got it behind Remo too. The growth backpack, one of a kind, limited edition.
Make sure you guys check us out at
It's the
forgrowth.com.
collaboration and just them, you know, wanting to be a part of what we're doing it just makes sense. You know, they're about growing. They're about whatever you're doing. You keep growing. You keep working at it, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
You know, that's where
Absolutely.
the happiness comes from, is growing. Because once you reach that goal, you're excited, you're happy. But then what?
No plateaus.
It's the next fucking goal.
What's next? Yeah.
You're constantly growing, and that's where your happiness is going to come from.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, one of the biggest threats to our future success is our current success. So everyone, you know, we get really comfortable once you reach that pinnacle, I want to say.
Yeah.
You get that job, you get that salary, you get that spot in that tattoo shop, you know, but a lot of times once we reach that plateau, I feel, you know, we reach that success and then you're like, I'm cool.
comfortable.
I'm comfortable. But you know, and I feel like you never got to forget that hunger you came from. And that's a great piece of the Stained Crown, because, you know, no matter how high you reached, you know, you're great. You were great doing here. What you guys were doing here is successful, but you guys creating your brand, moving forward, knowing you wanted to start your business, Elvis, I think that's a piece of the Stained Crown right there itself, you know?
Yep.
So shout out to you guys for continuing it. I think our next question is, you know, when you guys gonna get married?
Yes, baby.
Yo.
Oh, my bad, Elvis. Hey,
Yo, what are you doing,
so
bro? Put me on the spot.
Hey,
He's a little
hey,
bit behind.
so-
no?
this is
So,
my
yeah.
podcast. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
it's a
He's
good
like,
podcast today. Damn it. He's right. The loophole. Well, I proposed to Megan back in 2019 in Alaska on top of the glacier. We went on a hike. So we were planning on getting married pretty soon from that point. But a lot of things, messed
Fucking
up, got in the
COVID.
way. And we were trying to think, we've been trying to think about how to do it, how to approach it. Like, do we want to do a big thing? Do we want to have all our family there? Should we just do it small?
God,
Do it
yeah.
at the courthouse.
Should we do it at the courthouse? Should we do it in Hawaii and just have a few people come hang out and then have a party when we come back? Like,
Yeah,
there's just so many things that we have to consider.
Yeah.
but we can't expect a stained crown wedding coming.
Yes, at some point. At some point.
I think that's what the people wanted to hear.
At some point.
Hey, Megan, you keep playing
We're-
checkers.
We're,
No,
okay.
I play chess.
Oh, my bad. I meant you keep playing chess.
play chess.
Elvis,
I mean,
good luck.
We're playing a long game. Marriage is just a portion of it
Absolutely.
because what we're building is bigger than a marriage.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Future.
saying? It's a future.
Yeah,
It's a future.
absolutely.
It's a future. And
Future.
We're building an empire.
we're building an empire.
Yeah. I tell
Little
a lot of
empires
people like, hey, you can love a lot of people. You can do a lot with love, and you can go really far. But I always tell people this: with trust, there are no bounds. Everyone has love for people. I love a lot of people, but I don't trust them. That says a lot. So, I totally understand where you guys say about the marriage thing. That's building a big future, and that is a lot of trust.
Yeah.
So
It really is.
Yeah. I'm just
But
kidding.
yeah, so I mean, from this point, we're just kind of going with the flow. Like we have a plan, but it's not concrete.
Yeah.
Because we're still adjusting, making adjustments. Everything going on right now.
hey, you never,
world.
nothing's ever gonna. Let me tell you, in the business world, bro, so the best piece of advice I got is you're never gonna be ready, and nothing's ever gonna be concrete, and nothing is ever gonna be perfect.
Thank you.
You know what
I
I'm
love
saying?
that.
Because
Yes,
I was such in a
absolutely.
struggle. I was such in a struggle. A little off topic to the directions we were going with our business, and I was so hesitant because things weren't concrete. And I feel, in business, nothing's ever going to be concrete. But you got to
Sometimes
take,
you gotta take that leap.
take that
It's like-
opportunity and step in that wet fucking cement and get shit done.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like those
so-
businesses that are super successful now. For example, Disneyland. They fucking built Disneyland in the middle of fucking nowhere before there was like actual neighborhoods and stuff
Yeah.
built around. Their
Yeah.
shit was not on point. It was slacking hard, but they made adjustments. But they pulled the trigger to get it started,
And
and
built
then
from
eventually built from it.
Yep.
And now they're a fucking.
it.
I
Billion
don't even know
dollar.
how much they're worth. but-
Trillion dollars. Billion dollars.
They probably own all of Anaheim by now. Like,
I
Right?
mean, a big chunk, a huge chunk. But yeah, I mean that's where we're at now, and the rest of our journey is still unfolding. We're still pushing through the muck to reach that next crown.
And thank you, Elvis, Megan, for having me on.
Hey, we
think-
appreciate you, bro.
I think you got-
Thank you so
know,
much.
I think you guys have a lot of great information that young couples and entrepreneurs, or even one entrepreneur who's in the relationship, another one's working somewhere. I think it's a lot of great blueprints that you shout out to people on how to support one another and how to constantly push your spouse to reach a newer height, instead of, hey, I'm just at this point in my life. It's a great, you guys gave a lot of great blueprints to build a future. That's more than the short term goals. So thank you guys for having me on here. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, thank you,
you.
bro. Thank you for coming to hang out. Some of you, well, nobody knows this, but there was a lot of technical difficulties before this. Had me discouraged. It was my
Oh,
own little
man.
mini journey to get through to get this started and done. But thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for hanging out, behind the scenes over there.
Shout out behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Big dog behind the scenes.
Yes.
That's right. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got going on. Thank you guys for hanging out, and to
Make
everyone
sure
watching,
you guys. Thank you guys for having me, Elvis, Megan.
That's right.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys, and shout out to Joey and the whole crew at Trusted for
Absolutely.
putting up with my shenanigans, and I got a lot of things going on.
A lot of wires.
A lot of wires everywhere, so I apologize for that. But thank you guys, and Remo, thank you.
Yes, thank
Much
you,
love,
Remo.
much love.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for tuning in to the Stained Crown podcast. Make sure you guys go to crownthecity.com to find all the links for Elvis and Megan. Thank you guys, Elvis, Megan. You guys were amazing. You guys are a blueprint to success. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.